You're here. Next up, now look, I've been doing conferences for 15 years. I've always sort of had this rule that I don't use the stage for my own stuff, and it's always been a bit of an irritation to the hundreds of people who work with me that, you know, the companies I've been involved with, from, you know, Wired to the Industry Standard to Federated Media, never make any announcements, never get a chance to be on stage, and I'm like, But last year I became executive chairman, and I'm no longer running my company. Not day to day anyways. But the next speaker does run the company, and her name is Deanna Brown. She's an extraordinary executive. I'm very, very pleased to have her not only as a partner, but on stage today to make an announcement. So, Deanna Brown, welcome to Web 2.
I have to admit that seems weird, John, but I'll get over it quickly. Yeah, I'm going to make an announcement today, but I also know I'm the only thing standing between you and a lovely lunch, so I'll try to tell a story quickly. I want to talk a little bit about the context of the announcement and by telling you a story. I've been in the digital business for about 17 years, and I've watched a lot of internet stars kind of come to rise. And so today, we've thought a lot about this in terms of how we interact with internet stars at Federated Media. And so I want to talk a little bit about that as context for that announcement. So when you think about, I'm hitting the button, there we go, the birth of an internet star. It's not switching. There we go. Actually, I took us 2 slides ahead, so we want to go back a slide. If you think about the birth of an internet star in a place called the independent web, it's a place where brands are born, and we believe brands die or pass away. And what's exciting about an internet star is that it has a kind of a continuum or a path. And that continuum or path is, first and foremost, it's born. It ultimately builds up scale of some form. There's a lot of data associated with that scale, and that data becomes really interesting. In particular, it becomes interesting to investors. It becomes typically interesting to brands and advertisers. But then it's access where the brands get really frothy and excited. How do I get some of that, right? And so when we look at partnerships and we look at ideas around what Federated Media does, we think about scale, data, access. And then we help those companies come to what we call a stage called platform. And those are the types of things that we think about as we at Federated Media partner with companies on a place called the independent web. And if I take a look back at the last 15 or 20 years of the digital world, and I think about companies that represent or emblematic of this notion of being an independent kind of internet star, I think about these companies. I think about Yahoo. 600 million uniques in 15 years. Their data was content, is content. Their access was display ads. Their platform and who they are and what they are is a .com. They've added some pieces to it, so their platform has become more of a stack with their exchange. Google, 775 million uniques in 10 years, and so on and so on. Facebook and Twitter, the new quote-unquote internet stars, the ones that we all focus and spend a lot of time thinking about, whether it's Silicon Valley or Silicon Alley, whether it's Madison Avenue or Main Street, these are stars. What are their characteristics? Fast growth, some kind of data play, some type of access that they've created, and ultimately a .com. What I want to talk and focus us a little bit more on is this idea of this little red button, this I, this place we call the independent web. And what we propose today is that the independent web is an internet star. But what's tough about the internet star known as the independent web is it's not one .com. But we at Federated Media believe that the independent web is a star. And it's actually better stated, it's a constellation of stars. So when we go this next step, we say, we Federated Media want to own the independent web. We want to put a flag in the ground, a stake, etc. We believe and have seen and are on a path to 600 million uniques in 5 years. We have what we call a conversational media graph. That's what we talk about when we talk to friends on Madison Avenue, friends in the Silicon Valley. We have a conversation targeting suite of products, which is the access that we allow brands to access that. And lastly, here's the key. It's .coms. It's plural. It's not one star. It's a constellation of stars. So when we go out and think about how we in our business bring this to market and how we try to capture the essence of this internet star that is happening right before your eyes, is we think about partnerships. So I'll get to the announcement. What I want to have join me on stage is Tony Schneider, CEO of Automatic. And what you folks know is WordPress and WordPress.com, WordPress.org, and their VIP business. So today what we are announcing as partners is that we're joining hands to take this internet star, this constellation of stars, bring them to brands, bring them to consumers, and create a never-been-done-before platform. With that, I'll let Tony take us through some of the particulars.
Thank you, Deanna. So the announcement, the partnership we are announcing today has the potential to influence millions of authors and hundreds of millions of consumers. For the first time ever, we're going to enable WordPress.com users to put ads on their sites and to earn money from those ads. The programs are going to be opt-in for those publishers who want it, and we think a lot of them will, and we think they're really going to love it. We think it's going to be a very successful partnership because FM will bring great advertising to it, and we're going to bring great scale. WordPress.com today has 25 million bloggers. They attract a global audience of 300 million unique visitors every month. The publishers on WordPress.com range from individual bloggers all the way up to the biggest and best-known brands in the world. And a year ago, I was here at this conference, and I was telling the audience that WordPress was on a roll. At the time, 9% of all the websites on the internet were powered by WordPress. Today, that number has grown to 15%, and if you just look at new websites that have just registered a domain, it's even bigger at 22%. So clearly, in our opinion, WordPress is becoming the standard accepted publishing platform for the independent web. This is a picture of popular topics that have been talked about on WordPress.com in the last 24 hours. And we like putting this up here to show that there are a lot of topics on here that are of interest to brands and advertisers. And we have thousands of blog posts and comments and likes and reblogs flowing through our system every minute. And what we're going to do is we're going to partner together to allow brands and advertisers to target those conversations that interest them, participate in those conversations at a scale that's never been done before.
And of course, what I'm excited about, on the Federated Media business side is to first and foremost have a great partnership, both in WordPress, the Automatic team, and of course the management team, Tony, Matt, and their board of directors. But I'm also excited about what we represent. I get up in the morning every day and get excited about what we're enabling. And we're enabling these quality publishers across the span of the internet a chance to claim what is rightfully theirs, which is contextual advertising to high desirable audiences. And so what we're representing, what is the kind of the output of this deal, which we're particularly excited about, is relevance at scale with what is undeniably one of the most influential audiences. So this is what the numbers start to look like with the partnership. This is around combined consumers, around trend setting. It really puts us into another category as a business, but it also is another opportunity for brands and for publishers to come together. So I think in closing, Federated Media Publishing made an acquisition, announced an acquisition 2 weeks ago with our partners in Boulder, Colorado, Legit Networks. We add WordPress to this equation. We believe at this point we can fully represent that internet star known as the independent web. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Deanna. Yay. So excited. Sorry, it's just good news. Been working on this for 7 years, so it just feels good. Federated has actually driven more than $100 million back into the ecosystem of independent authors in the last 5 years, and I'm very proud of that. We're just getting started. Now we're going to have lunch. And lunch is brought to us by our platinum sponsor, Bing. Thank you, Bing. Come back at 2 o'clock. We're going to have a conversation with the man behind Google+, Vic Gundotra.